Welcome to This Explainer. Today we're unpacking the chilling visual evidence of a forgotten, cursed place known only as Scary Town. We aren't just looking at spooky pictures, we are literally mapping a town's complete terrifying descent into madness. Let's dive right in and see exactly what happens when a place falls under a supernatural blight.
So, what happens when you ignore the signs? Well, I want you to imagine walking down a road where every single human instinct is screaming at you to turn back. The light's fading, the air turns freezing cold, and the environment itself wants you gone. Why do some travelers just keep walking right into the dark? And boom! This brilliantly illustrates the immediate, aggressive warning presented at the very border of this doomed location. The massive blood-red text slashing across the wood leaves zero ambiguity. Welcome to Scary Town, leave before dark. Plus, standing right there on the flooded, reflective asphalt is this spectral figure. It's basically an unmissable perimeter defense designed to keep the living out. All right, Section 1. Welcome to Scary Town, the outskirts. Let's trace this initial descent. If you look down this foggy, unpaved road, that phantom figure in white confirms the physical signage with a terrifying, silent vigil. The rusted metal sign literally reads, "Turn back now." And notice how the darkness completely swallows the edges of the road? It forces you straight toward the entity. The claustrophobia sets in immediately.
Pushing slightly deeper, you find the remnants of folks who didn't listen. There's an abandoned carriage sitting on an uneven path, its lantern still glowing. You've got these dilapidated wooden shocks being completely reclaimed by the dead woods. And hovering over the whole scene are these massive, unnatural ravens. In folklore, ravens are omens of death, right? But here, they almost act like the town's personal security cameras. The place is rotten, but it's highly observant.
Section 2. The Harvest of Nightmares. The Pumpkin Fields. Okay, rules of the harvest. 1. Keep your lantern low. 2. Do not look up. And 3. Pray it doesn't see you. To survive these fields, you absolutely must follow these grim rules. Because the harvest here, it isn't crops, it's terror. And here we see exactly why the harvest is so corrupted. The local graveyard bleeds directly into the pumpkin patches right outside these dark wooden homes. There's absolutely no separation between the resting place of the dead and the soil that grows their food. The pumpkins themselves almost take on this sinister, watchful energy lit by an eerie inner glow. The soil is quite literally fed by the town's dead. Now, this is absolutely crucial. What's really fascinating and terrifying is the sheer scale of the nightmare. We're not just dealing with ghosts and spooky pumpkins here. Look at that colossal, monstrous entity made of earth and vegetation, towering over the village, actively patrolling the fields. It completely dwarfs the homes in the valley below. Notice the small family in the foreground? They're holding a single lantern, frozen in the corn stalks. They are petrified, totally helpless against a literal harvest god that just walks among their homes. This is the dark, beating heart of Scary Town's rural terror. Section 3. The Hanging Man, the Rainy Streets.
Escaping the fields only brings you into the claustrophobic urban center. The oppressive atmosphere shifts violently here. We move from that foggy rural silence to the constant, dreary sound of freezing rain hitting cursed cobblestones. Notice how the jagged Gothic architecture leans inward, basically threatening to crush the street below. The warm glow of the gas lamps offers zero comfort. It really just highlights the endless mud, the twisted dead trees, and the absolute lack of any living soul.
Let's track this town's deterioration chronologically. Number 1, crop failure. Number 2, the entity's arrival. And number 3, martial law and executions. The history is super clear. First came the corruption of the soil, then the massive monsters, and finally, as panic completely set in, society totally collapsed into brutal street justice. And the inescapable despair of the town square culminates in this horrific focal point. I mean, look at that sight. A hanging man, his silhouette suspended precariously right over the muddy, flooded thoroughfare. The sky above him is thick with circling crows, drawn to the relentless violence. And that towering Gothic cathedral in the background, it looms silently, offering absolutely no sanctuary whatsoever, only judgment. The laws of man have been entirely replaced by a savage, unyielding cruelty.
Section 4. No Way Out. The claustrophobic climax. So, seeking shelter from the freezing rain and the horrors of the street, you're forced inside, which, by the way, is exactly what the town wants. The moment you enter these decaying interiors, the space tightens.
The peeling wallpaper, the suffocating shadows, it all forces your perspective straight down this narrow corridor. And there she is again. You quickly realize you are sharing this incredibly cramped darkness with the exact same phantoms that have been hurting you from the very beginning. Descending even further into the subterranean levels, the warnings from the town's border return. But notice the stark shift in tone. Outside, the signs were formal, turn back. Here, deep in the dark, the warnings are desperate, scrawled in blood on the tunnel walls, urging you to run, run, run. It's a frantic command delivered precisely when there is literally nowhere left to go. Which brings us to the final trap. This inescapable, blood-soaked medical ward. A spectral figure blocks the only window in a room of rusted, empty beds. But it's that gruesome message smeared across the filthy wall that confirms your absolute worst fears. I saw you. The entities haven't just been blindly hunting you through the rain and the fields. They've been patiently watching. They've been waiting for you to walk right into this dead end. If you saw the warning signs at the border, why didn't you leave before dark? That leaves us with one final, incredibly chilling thought to consider after surviving this explainer's visual descent into madness. Think back to the beginning of this journey. The signs were there from the very first moment. The blood-red text, the dead crops, the hanging man. The town warned you. So I have to ask, why didn't you turn back? Thanks for exploring this with us, and stay curious.